holy shit, do we have a star in CJ Stroud and DeMeco Ryans with the Texans? CJ may be the most natural pocket passer to come out of the draft in a long time. We are jumping right into an instant reaction of the Browns and Texans game, where obviously CJ Stroud's talent just hopped right off the screen. So I'm going to give you a recap of that, some of the things that I saw from him, and where I see his trajectory as well as the Texans' trajectory moving forward in these playoffs and beyond. And secondly, we are of course going to talk about and double down on my concerns with the Browns and their quarterback situation. And as always, I am going to absolutely flame Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns organization for the bullshit that they both have partaken in. Would appreciate a like and subscribe, because we're gonna hop right into this. I encourage you to stick with me. CJ is an incredibly accurate passer where the ball absolutely flies off of his hand. I haven't seen anyone make it look so easy and so natural this early in quite a while, as well as in a legitimate playoff team playing one of the best defenses in all of football. Regardless of what Cleveland has going on with their quarterback situation, had obviously nothing to do with the amount of rigor that CJ Stroud had to go up against with Cleveland's 3 levels on defense. They're a legitimate unit. There is always some talk about somewhat of a drop-off in year 2, and I absolutely do not see that happening with CJ. When there are guys who are this committed, who are that naturally accurate, has a low amount of interceptions and a high completion percentage, as well as the time that he puts in to his craft, I have almost no concerns about him regressing. He is only going to get better. He's going to get more experience with the speed of the game as well as reading defenses. He's also an incredible decision maker, and he's a very strong kid. It was so fun watching that first half and the big plays, really both sides. And so with DeMeco Ryans, I've said this many times before, you've got to give him immense amount of credit. Do you remember the absolute shit show that Houston was when he took that job? You had the person running the organization as some sort of slimy church pastor. It was a very, very uncomfortable dynamic. You had the fallout of the allegations with Deshaun Watson, how the team enabled him and put him in an opportunity to continue to victimize more women. You have the issues with the owners fighting over the estate, over rights of the team. The list goes on. And DeMeco sat back and he said, it's my job. It's my dream job. And so there's one thing to be simply delusional, right? There's a lot of that in coaching, right? You have to almost be delusional in order to be an NFL coach. But for him to actualize his vision this quickly, on the broadcast, they talked about how the players see DeMeco Ryans as almost a team captain because he's so passionate, because his energy and love for the game just so naturally translates and encourages his players to play hard for him. This is by no means a mistake. This is by no means an accident. This is why dudes who have the level of energy and enthusiasm, as well as can legitimately coach a team. For example, obviously I'm talking about DeMeco Ryans, but I'm also here talking about Pete Carroll. Those guys will always get a job because they will always have their players play hard regardless of the caliber. Going into the season, did you think that there was any part of Houston's roster that you thought, oh, this is a playoff team? You have an incredible corner, right? You have a offensive line, which is saying something. You're going to keep your rookie quarterback upright, but there wasn't anybody who went into the season and said, oh yeah, they're going to turn this thing around like that. And so I think you've got to give an immense amount of credit. And I think that the Houston Texans to the freaking moon. I don't feel like I'm overreacting. When you have a quarterback who is that calm, cool, and collected, the sky is the limit. And so shout out to what those boys are doing down there in Houston. On the other sideline, I think Kevin Stefanski has a legitimate case, as well as DeMeco Ryans, to be coach of the year. For him to have 4 different quarterbacks, and for him to not just be putting out an average offense, but to continue to be so creative and have that level of nuance and balance in the offense while dealing with all of the drama and chaos from, of course, Deshaun Watson and his injury history, as well as the quarterback carousel that's been the story throughout the season. The other part of this too is like the caliber of quarterback. I mean, if you looked at Joe Flacco last year with the Jets, he looked absolutely cooked. He looked like he had absolutely nothing left in the tank. And so it is a testament to Stefanski's ability to bring the absolute most out of somebody whose career looked like it was over many years ago. And if you even remember Flacco being in Denver, it was like, who is this person? It was just so unbelievable, the fall off in Flacco's career. So obviously exciting for them to get back to the playoffs with Flacco. Obviously, let's hope that, the Haslams don't make any rash decisions by getting rid of Stefanski, because he has put together one of the better operations there. He just needs a legitimate quarterback. And I'm going to close with this. It might be my strongest point of the night. So let me give you a hypothetical. You trot Deshaun Watson out to the playoffs next season. Look at the teams in the current AFC playoffs. Is there any quarterback that he could go up against that you would think, okay, we have a quarterback advantage here? The answer is absolutely not. I'm sick of seeing the praise for the Browns in the regular season, because you have put together a team that should be well overachieving that. It should, if you're a Browns fan, it should concern you. You have 3 other quarterbacks who you have put in place of Deshaun Watson and look like they can do his job just at the same level. Where is the explosiveness from Deshaun Watson? Where is his will to want to play? You can say what you want about Brady Quinn being critical of Deshaun's injury. I don't love to get in on those things, but my thoughts are, where is Deshaun Watson pushing to play? My dad always says this thing. He always says, if you give a guy a guaranteed contract, he's not going to push through injury. He's not going to. And whether you believe that or not, I think when you have someone with the character that we've seen with Deshaun Watson, how do we really know that he's just not there for the bag? I don't know. I think Cleveland has a legitimate problem and they're stuck with it. They're absolutely stuck with it. And bad organizations make bad moves like this. I'm curious to see if the ownership just completely implodes based off of the loss to the Texans, who some people thought have a top 5 pick again. And so if you've signed a quarterback to $230 million, you can never get out of that contract without paying for it. Don't you think that his play should be an upgrade from a guy who got discovered in the XFL? A guy who looked like barbecue chicken with the New York Jets just about 12 months ago? I mean, it's absolutely egregious. I think it's one of the worst signings, because unless he's going to even bring you to a Super Bowl, there's no way to justify that contract. It was very, very desperate. See you next time.